Hello, students, and welcome to week 9 of the University Experience. Uh, Sorry that this video is going up a little late in the day. I apologize for that, but I was not going to put up another introduction video without having read and graded all of your last enchantments reflections. So I have done that, and I've possibly given you a little bit of feedback in the grade center. So those are graded, and I appreciate your work on that. And I appreciate those of you that participated in the extra credit discussion with Candace. There were some good posts in there, and Candace was giving some good replies. So we're going to wrap up our study of the last enchantments. Um, so it was an okay read, right? It was okay. It was a coming of age story, I believe. Like a lot of you, when I started reading it, I thought it was autobiographical. And when the sister was murdered in Syria, I was appalled. And so I started Google searching for that woman to find more about the incident, and I couldn't find it. And at that point, I realized that I was reading a fictional novel. That being said, I thought it was an okay read just because it was focused more on personal relationships and things of that nature rather than life in Great Britain or life in the academy, so to speak. But it was an okay read. And I appreciate Candace, who got to go visit with the author, sharing her experience with meeting the author, and I'm glad she got to go. I didn't get to go, and I'm sorry none of us this semester get to go. The author's visits come in the fall, so we missed out on that, but I do appreciate Candace sharing her thoughts. And I guess I will close with this. I think a lot of you mentioned in your papers that you were kind of impressed by the fact that not impressed like wow I'm impressed, but like I got this from the novel was that college there is kind of a lot like college here, and that's the impression I got as well. And so I just want to say that I wish we had had a book that kind of gave us a little bit more of an insight into the uh, the real life of the academic or the intellectual in a historical academic setting. And what I mean by that is that there are amazing things that happen in institutions of higher learning across the world. They're profound, they're mind-blowing, and this read really didn't give us a glimpse too much into that. So that was a little bit disappointing. If you're interested in reading some books about that give you a glimpse into life as a cutting edge academic, I recommend they made a movie. It was called The Beautiful Mind. Um, oh, what's his name was in it? The Gladiator guy. He starred in it. Steve Nash. Nash is the last name, and I can't really remember the first name. It's about his life, and he was a mathematician and schizophrenic. And the biography, I read the book, and it's very thorough. A friend of mine read it when I was teaching public school, and she found it exhausting, but enjoyed it nonetheless. It's very thorough. But what really impressed me about that book was the life of an academic that's really doing cutting edge discovery, and the stress, especially on mathematicians in high prestige institutions. And it's incredible because one thing that I remember is the pressure that they put on themselves, because with mathematicians most of their original and valuable work will have been conceived and done by the time they're 25. So once you reach 25 in the high stakes world of cutting edge mathematics, it's all downhill from there. That's one thing I remember from A Beautiful Mind. And also how the academic world rallied around this schizophrenic, brilliant person. And they gave him jobs and places to stay because they respected his mind so much that they pulled together to keep him afloat for when he would go through periods where he was, coherent and not off in his schizophrenic world. Anyways, that's a fascinating read, and it gives you a good glimpse into the academy and life as an intellectual. And another set of books is by Brian Greene, and he's a theoretical physicist, and he writes about the latest theories in physics. And what he realized as an academic was that there was a hunger for the type of people want to know what these theoretical physicists were doing, and what these latest discoveries mean about string theory and the universe and the Big Bang, and he realized that really just common folks really were hungry for someone just to tell them about what was going on in this world of math and physics that most of us cannot comprehend in language that we could understand. And so that's what he did. He wrote a series of books, and I don't know the names of all of them, but Fabric of the Universe is one of them, and it's a great place to start. So it's very interesting subject matter, but again, it's another set of books that give you a glimpse into the academy, because this gentleman, Brian Greene, he works at various different places, and you get a glimpse into the world of these high level prestigious academics, and I always have found that very interesting. So that being said, Oxford is a place of long history, and I'm sure there's a lot of high level intellectual work that goes on there. But our book didn't give us a glimpse into that, more of the life of a young man trying to find himself. So anyways, thanks for reading it, and thanks for participating with the activities surrounding the book, and I appreciate it. So moving on, 3 minutes here. Chapter 5, critical thinking, right? Critical thinking, the whole reason theoretically behind a liberal arts education. Now, I know most of you are here to get a job, right? But critical thinking is important nonetheless, and so we're going to start a 2-week kind of set of activities surrounding critical thinking. So please, first this week, I'd like you to reflect on the information literacy activities we did last week, and your information literacy reflection will be due Tuesday by the end of the day. I've got some notes on critical thinking, methods of thinking critically, and common critical thinking errors. I've even got a little some glossary activities if you want to use those before taking the Chapter 5 quiz, which will be due Wednesday. Okay? Then, for this week's activity, I want you to watch this video by Miss Elizabeth Lesser, and you may have seen it already. Every year that goes by, more and more people are familiar with this lecture. Anyways, it's entitled Take the Other to Lunch. So give that a watch. Then your assignment due by the end of the week is this discussion board. First of all, I'd like you to answer these 5 questions here, and these are just comprehension questions about what she talks about in her video. It's a short video, but very powerful nonetheless. Very important message back when she gave it originally, and still, if not even more so today with the political climate. Then I want you to create a thread or continue on in your thread, or I'm sorry, these first 5 questions are the first part of your thread. Answer those. Then I want you to give a personal story about when you were guilty of otherizing someone, okay? So I want you to relate this story, and I want you to identify the non-critical thinking error of which you were guilty, okay? And you can find those up here. These are critical thinking errors. So which one were you guilty of in the story that you will share about otherizing someone else? And then finally, I want you to reply to a classmate's thread, all right? And I want you to include in your reply to them a critical thinking method that they could have applied to their situation. So they've told you a story about where they demonstrated a critical thinking error, right? And they identified it. And I want you to reply to their thread and tell them, hey, this is a critical thinking method that would have prevented you from creating that critical thinking error. And these critical thinking methods are also up here, right here. Okay? So you're going to help a classmate out after the fact, right? Hey, sorry you made that error of X, Y, and Z, but hey, if you did this next time, maybe you wouldn't make such an error in critical thinking. And finally, a little extra credit case study here. So, okay, I'll be back in touch with you soon as I continue getting caught up on grading. I greatly appreciate your patience as I got through everyone's essays. And have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.